Shalom, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Milestone. Shalom also to the one-third Israelites. Okay, which include the Judah children, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Indians, who are still oppressed together according to the book of Jeremiah 50 and 33, but to whom so late pertained the adoption, the giving of the law, the promises, the glory, and the covenants, according to the book of Romans chapter 9, if you don't know. And today we will talk about 5 signs that the war between Gog and Magog and NATO is about to spiral out of control. Source: Michael Snyder. Have you ever found yourselves completely losing your temper in the middle of a heated struggle of some sort? Whether it is a hotly contested sporting event, an actual first fight, or a bitter battle against an online foe, it can be way too easy to lose your temper. And when tempers flare, you can end up losing control and doing things that you deeply regret later. Unfortunately, the same thing is true on the international level. Gog and Magog, which is Russia and NATO, have both become absolutely obsessed with winning in Ukraine. And leaders on both sides are getting angrier and angrier. And when leaders become extremely angry, they can do really stupid things. I have been extremely alarmed by some of the events that have transpired over the past week. And that's actually true. Okay. The first text here was not so super intelligent, but here what it says: I have been extremely alarmed by some of the events that have transpired over the past week. It's very interesting to read it again, because it is the case. Okay, I don't even some days I don't even type in anymore Ukraine news, okay, about the war and things like that, because already it's escalating. Okay, you know already. Okay, so basically you have these drone attacks, okay, which the drones come from Persia, okay, which is Iran, okay, and you have to think about the fact that they buy these drones really cheap, and if you buy something really cheap, it's not really an act of work to shoot them on basically whole Ukraine, what they're doing, I believe. Okay, so there's no place in Ukraine where they fear to bomb to, or so, they bomb whole Ukraine. Okay, and if you go by what you see as an Ukrainian person living there, okay, it's just air defense systems losing, because you can't shoot down all of these drones, some of them, but not all. Okay, and you know it already, okay, how it goes there, but really you have to fear as a normal, not normal, but as somebody living there, you have to fear actually, okay, if you don't trust in Yahweh Shem Shai, that some of these drones will hit your house or so, or where you sleep or whatever, Okay, if you don't fear Yahweh Shem Shai, you have to fear also the UAPs at some point, which are the UFOs. Okay, which is also, something which you can't, which you really can't detect, okay? Especially them, okay? The so-called UFOs, you have no air defense system, really, okay, which can defend them, okay? Of course, they can be seen to, airplanes and whatever, and jets and things like that, but really it's just because they want to be seen. If a UAP or UFO doesn't want to be seen, okay, then you better believe that it will not be seen, okay, because they move faster and they change direction quicker than, or basically they change the direction, okay, from without stopping, basically. Okay, let's say they fly like I don't know, 1,000 kilometers per hour, okay, they change the direction right there, okay? They don't stop or so, or get slower to change the direction or so, okay? In a complete opposite direction. That's just an example. They can basically do everything, going down in the water, coming up again, okay? Show me an airplane that does this, okay? And then also, like, nothing happened. They can go even into fire or magma or whatever, you know, volcanic opening, you know, whatever. Okay, angels basically, the angels can basically do everything if Yahweh allows them to do so. Okay. And you also have many. Okay, let's see. Okay, I show you something. These UAP sightings. So you better believe that Yahweh has his hands there on the Ukraine-Russia war to change things up and you know, change confusion, because everything should happen to prophecy, according to prophecy. So if there's confusion or something, Yahweh and his uses the angels to basically clear things, okay, the way he wanted them to be, okay, because I can prove it to you, okay, UFO sightings in Ukraine increase. Ukraine says UFOs are all over Ukraine's skies. Government report claims the skies over Kyiv are swarming with unidentified flying objects, UFOs, according to a new report from the Astronomical Observatory of the National Academy of Sciences in Ukraine. Of course, given that Russia and Ukraine have been locked in a months-long war that relies heavily on aircraft and drones, it's likely that many of these so-called UFOs are military tools that appear to fleetingly to identify a US intelligence agency, as speculated, published to the preprint database Arxiv. The report, which has not been yet been revived, describes recent steps that Ukrainian astronomers have taken to monitor fast-moving, low visibility objects in the daytime sky over Kyiv and in the surrounding villages, using specially calibrated cameras at two weather stations in Kyiv and Vina Rivka, a village about 75 miles, okay? So you would think, oh, these are normal people who saw these UFOs and report them. No, these are special technology, especially cameras, to really see, okay, what this object can be, okay? So we don't even talk about normal people having these sightings, okay? These increased sightings. Astronomers observed dozens of objects that cannot scientifically be identified as known natural phenomena, the report said. Government agencies tend to refer such an objects as UAP, short for unidentified aerial phenomena. We observe a significant number of objects whose nature is not clear. Them team word. We see them everywhere. Okay, so if it's war, you see UAPs everywhere. That's true. Okay. Armageddon, okay, you will see many UAPs. Wherever there's war, okay, Yahweh is also there using the angels to move around, basically. We saw already videos where I believe it was the Persians shooting or trying to shoot at UAPs, okay? And you saw the UAPs moving actually between the bullets, okay? The bigger bullets, okay, like nothing happened. Okay, so that shows you that where there is war, okay, the angels are also there, okay, helping out or destroy, okay, with their lasers and things. Let's read that because we have some numbers here. As I told you, okay, high numbers. Phantoms, by contrast, are dark objects, usually appearing completely black, as if absorbing all light falling onto them. Okay, you know, Yahweh can make, or the angels can make them seem like complete dark, so you can't see nothing, okay? Or absorbing even light, literally. All light falling onto them added. By comparing observations from the two participating observatories, the researchers estimated that phantoms range from 10 to 40 feet, okay, which is the typically size of UAPs. like we know it, to the flying wall in the book of Ezekiel, okay, wide and can travel at speeds of up to 33,000 mph, okay, which is 35 at 53,000 kilometers per hour. Okay. For comparison, an intercontinental ballistic missile can reach speeds of up to 15,000 mph, which is 24,000 kilometers per hour, according to the Center of Arms Control and Non-Proliferation. Okay. These researchers did not speculate as to what these UFOs may be, whether they paper focuses on the methods and calculations used to detect objects. However, according to a 2021 report from the US Office of the Director of National Intelligence, or DNI, it's likely that at least some UAP technologies deployed by China, Russia, and other nation or non-governmental entity. I believe the list is more wide, okay, because I don't see a nation, okay, having built flying objects, okay, especially not that fast, and especially not flying without a power that you would see, you know, like a helicopter has something which you see, okay, so, you know, that's the reason a helicopter can fly, you know, or things like that, okay. So especially a flying aircraft, you see, okay, how it pollutes the air or something. You see something, okay, that proves to you, oh, okay, now I understand how this thing can move, okay. But with UAPs, it's not so. You clearly see enough, not even the smallest hole, okay, of some smoke coming out or whatever, you know. You see basically nothing, just the thing moving at some level of movement, okay, which is basically, even that is basically impossible, okay. So it's clearly a non-governmental entity, okay, given the ongoing Russian okay, there's already enough information out there, okay, to move that further. Given the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine, which began February 22, it's reasonable to suspect that some UAP described in the report may be linking to foreign surveillance or military technologies, according to the... Okay, and Khan, it's basically the military technology of Yahweh Hashem Eloshai, the God of the Bible, okay? According to the ODNI report, other possible explanations for UAP include airborne clutter such as birds and balloons, atmospheric phenomena such as ice crystals, or classified government projects, okay, and we don't support any sightings that were uploaded or showed in the social media or whatever, okay, of people who see something and say, oh, that's a UAP, okay. Of course, we have also other things that, okay, are not UAPs, okay. Neither the US nor Ukraine reports raise the possibility of extraterrestrial visitors, okay. Just go on the Pentagon's sources, for example, okay. You have many things that prove that there are sightings that that can't be, okay, some whatever bird or balloon, what they trying to say. Okay, so so here you have a video, okay. But anyway, this is not the topic of the video so much. Of course, also, okay, as a matter of fact, but let's continue here. And, you know, 5 signs that the war between Russia and NATO is about to spiral out of control. And actually you have 6 things, okay, because the UAPs being there is the 6th thing, okay, because you better believe that these UAPs will influence this war so much, okay, to make sure that it will not end, okay, or it will escalate more, okay. I've been extremely alarmed by some of the events that have transpired over the past week. Hotheads in Russia and hotheads in the Western world just continue to escalate the conflict in Ukraine, and we are getting dangerously close to a point of no return. Okay, and before I forget it, let's get that flying wall real quick so you see that the sizes are actually the same. Okay, flying wall. Okay, we was reading about a size, a typical size. Oh, Zechariah, Salachia, not the book of Ezekiel. You see, this is weird because it needed correction. So here the correction is, Zechariah 5:1. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. Okay, there was about UAPs in Ezekiel also some. Okay, so that's maybe why I confused it, but here you have the answer. Okay, let's see verse 2. And he said unto me, now check it out. Now watch at the size that, of course you have no terminology here, okay, about cubits, okay, but I will show it to you. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered and said, and see a flying roll, the length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. And then he said unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off on this side according to it. I will bring it forth, said the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of this house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. Okay, so this is no fantasy here, or I don't like fantasy movies or series, okay? That goes to these Christians, because clearly, if you read that, I don't know if Christians read the Bible at all. Okay, I don't know what they think about when they read this, and I don't know if they are really interested in the truth, and I really believe they are not. Okay, because if you would ask a Christian what this is talking about, I hope that he will not answer this is actually a papyrus roll, okay, where you write something on. I just hope it. So let's go into the okay, let's go into the cubits. What is a cubit? Cubit in meters. Okay, because then here is also to answer all the questions. Okay, if you really believe that a flying roll enters people's houses to cut them off, okay, and then, okay, why is this flying roll as big as an UAP, or as in, cars are a little bit smaller? You would say, why is this so big as okay, a kitchen or whatever, So really, these Christians are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, as the scripture says. Okay. Let's see. What is a cubit meter? The term cubit meter may sound complex and fancy, but it's really just the name of a block space, a cube that is very specific size. This cube is a perfect cube. The length, width, and the height are all the same. Height are all the same. 1 meter. The 1 meter is equal to about 3.28 feet, which is just a little bit longer than a yardstick you might find in your classroom. Okay, you see. So basically, you have something about whatever meter, It's kind of like, it's not so much difference, but it's a difference, you see. So if you have a flying roll, okay, basically, 20 cubits and the breadth are 10 cubits, okay? This is as big as, I don't know, 3 cars, something, okay? Okay? So please don't tell me this is talking about a flying papyrus roll, okay? Which would be a curse, okay? That cuts off people because of they stealing stuff, and these Christians are just confusion, man, okay? Guess what? The typical size of UAP sightings. Guess what comes out? Of course, they don't talk about cubits, but you see it already on the pictures. Okay, it's the typical size. Are there any reports on the size of UAPs. Okay, so it's really at some point kind of like, okay, you understand why these Christians, most of them will not be of the 144,000, okay, elect, because really, you know, they don't do the homework. They don't go into this, okay. They don't even look up things if they don't understand them, okay. Which makes no sense, because the scripture says, okay, study. Let me get that. To show thyself. Okay, and also not philosophy, but the Bible. 2 Timothy 2:15. Okay, the truth. Study to shew thyself approved unto God, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Exactly, because you also have to correctly divide the word of truth, okay? Because you can't say, oh, I studied the Bible, but I came to another conclusion that this is talking about UFOs. Okay, but what is your conclusion then if it's not talking about UFOs? You see? So you're not rightly dividing the word of truth. You're just playing actually stupid with intent. So we see may hear something. Wait. $42 feet. Okay, I don't know what this guy, but okay, this is a shitty. Salache from French. This is a not so good side here. Okay, you really see no numbers. Let's get that. UFO hearing, ex-Navy. Oh, this is some real good autistic here. Ex-Navy fighter, pilot, Ryan Graves. You have these pilots a lot coming out, okay? Because you have to understand, if you see such things moving that quick, and you also know how it feels to move in the air, and how, you know, how the technology works in these instances, okay, and you see something like that, you better believe that a pilot comes out, okay, because he has that on his heart basically, or on his mind, and he can't sleep really good at night if he doesn't talk about it, okay. That's how these pilots feel, really, okay. You have to think about it, okay. You're flying somewhere alone in the air, or maybe even with a co-pilot, okay. Then you see something like, you can't sleep if you don't talk about that, okay. You feel as if you have to explain the world, okay, what you saw, okay. And some even were fired in these different companies, okay, even in the Pentagon and things like that, okay, because they can't keep their tongue basically. So why should they, okay? Most people even don't see these UFOs not as threat or something. They just think that there are some aliens or whatever, okay? But, you know, most people are not studied. So if you would be studied, you would know that, of course, this has something to do with the Bible. Okay, we don't read this article here, okay? But we will read about sizes. Here. The people in our scorpion that see them, that would describe them as simply a dark gray or dark black cube, okay? That doesn't matter to us now, this information. Okay, it can appear in different. Okay, you have UAPs being completely different, okay? Anyway, inside a clear sphere about 15, maybe 20 feet in diameter, Graves said. So that is exactly the typical size which we have in Zechariah, the typical size that, you know, that we have as a sighting appearing, okay? You can ask people who saw UAPs in Ukraine right now, okay? You can ask them right now, okay? Drive there and ask them, what is the typical size of the UAPs you say that you saw? And you better believe that the answer will be exactly the same, okay? 15 to 20 feet, I believe he said, in the diameter. Just as you can read it in Zechariah, okay? Okay. So we will go into some scriptures and then we will continue at we will read until point 1. Hotheads in Russia and hotheads in the Western would just continue to escalate the conflict in Ukraine, and we are getting dangerously close to a point of no return. The following are 5 signs that the war between Russia and NATO is about to spiral out of control. Okay, so we will go into some scriptures and then we will continue the next video about this topic specifically. Okay, because I don't want to make this too long. Okay, if you don't know where scripture is, or you don't know if you can find it, just type in what you know, the words that you know, and then type behind it King James or KJV. Okay, you will find it. Okay, and that's Psalms 68 and 17. The chariots of God are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai in the holy place. Okay, next question to that Christian would be, what is this talking about? Hopefully he can just be quiet, okay, and give no answer. That would be wiser than talking about this is some chariots with horses, okay, riding around somewhere in space, okay, like a Christmas story you wanna tell, okay. So that shows you from which direction they come. They come from a direction of basically nonsense, okay. Come. So let's get into some more scriptures, because this turned out to be a video about the influence of Yahweh Shem Yahushai on wars, ongoing wars, or in past wars, okay. You had him influence these past wars also, the Second World War, the First World War, okay. Basically not so much undercover at all, you know. Okay, you better believe that there are some, not so much pictures and movies, okay, we have that today more, but you better believe you have more like writings of different people about what they saw in the Second World War, okay, airplanes that they wasn't knowing that they exist, you know, or flying. We would describe it maybe as UFOs, okay. Hitler talked, I believe, even about the so-called term UFOs, okay. We can look that up, okay, when was the term UFO invented, but of course, you know, humans are not there to build UFOs, so it's just nonsense that somebody can develop a UFO like he was reading it in the article, okay, or about Hitler and things like that. Okay, nobody has a UFO that does these kind of movements. Also not that does things like in Zechariah, okay. UFOs that enter into houses of people shooting laser and things like that, okay, that you can read it already. The matters of death belong to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, okay, so he uses the angels to slay people. Okay, let me get it. Slay elderly, young and old. Okay, so he is not doing some some stuff what humans would do with these objects, okay. He does things according to his mind, okay. This is Ezekiel 9 and 6, slay orderly, and guess to whom he says that. Okay. Slay orderly, old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. Okay. And the glory of God of Israel was gone up from the cherub whereupon he was to his hold of the house, and he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the riders inquan by his side, and the Lord said unto him, Go to the midst of the city, to the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sighed and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst of. And to the others he said in mine hearing, Go ye after him to the city and smite, let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Okay, and if we would continue, you can clearly see, okay, that this is Ezekiel seeing something which is basically supernatural. Okay. Come. Yeah, I can. You see. So okay, I'll give you an example. Angel slew. Okay, just typed it in and something will come out. Okay, angel slew. Okay, so these chariots, okay, which are the UFOs or UAPs, are angels. You see, Second Kings, he even uses angels against heathens, of course, like we was reading it. Okay, these thieves and things like that. Okay, a UFO will enter into the houses. Okay, and cut these people off. Okay, Second Kings 19:35. And it came to pass that night that the angel of the Lord went out and smote in the camp of the Assyrians 185,000. Okay, and when there arose early in the morning, behold, there were all dead corpses. Okay, so that's how fast it can go. Okay, just as you see these chariots moving so fast. You see, I don't say that this angel moved in a chariot to slay these Assyrians. Okay, but he could. Okay, today you see that. I believe more often because you have much objects already in the air. You know, military airplanes, military jets, and things like that. So it's just better, okay, to use more of the chariots that we was reading in Psalms, okay, because you can really influence war so good, okay. Think about it. You have the Third World War, or you have Armageddon, okay, things like that. It would be perfect for Yahweh to use something, okay, which flies in the air to influence basically the war, kind of like in a way to see it, okay, you see. So it's basically the best way to influence this last war, okay, with UAPs. And guess what? He is doing so, okay. Okay, or you will see in America soon, okay, UAPs shooting lasers at people, okay, and things like that. That's just a way for Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shai, okay, to do different things with these flying objects, okay. That's beautiful, of course. But with that, all praises. Okay, let's get some pictures. UAPs. With that, all praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Kakodash Baruch Tam. Okay. Here you go. Some UAPs, you see. Some is animation, some is not. This, for example, is a sighting clearly. Okay, and this is a shape which you could also see sometimes, you see. So it's not always, but it's the typical size always, but not always the same shape, of course, you know, or the same color and things like that. You see? So let's type in UAPs Ukraine. Yeah, you have to go on the sites to see. Oh, what is that? This is, yeah, something like this it could look, you know. So there are different things that you can see on these sites. Okay, not so much on images here, but you know, it's just I believe too, of course, that you have Ukrainians see a lot of them, but also you have these companies, um, these systems who talk a lot about that. Okay, the astronomic company over there, what we was reading. Okay. Okay, so if you have corporations talking about it also, okay, then even if I would not know so much about UAPs, and I hear all these things, okay, then I would still believe it, because you have not just people themselves talking about it, okay. Maybe you are somewhere, you use your mobile phone to film it or whatever, but you have also these corporations, okay, as we was reading, who have different systems to observe things, okay. So we know it's enough proof out there, okay. Most proof comes from America, of course, okay, because America will the main showdown to these heathens, okay. When I say heathens, I also mean the 2/3 of Israel, okay, who behave like heathens and have the knowledge of heathens. So with that, all praises to Yahweh Shem Shai Shem Kakodash. Okay.